You're listening to Hair of the Dogcast, a proud part of the Greenlit Podcast Network. Check out Hair of the Dogcast and all of Greenlit shows at greenlitpodcast.com. Hey everybody, welcome back to Hair of the Dogcast, episode 83.5, ranking of the console launches, part 2. I'm actually your only host today. My name is Tom. Everybody is out enjoying the holiday week here. In the US, it's Thanksgiving, so it's just me, some turkey cold cuts, and a beer, because Hair of the Dogcast is a podcast about beer and video games and beer, and we do drink the real life beer on the podcast, and today is no different. It's just me, and I am drinking alone on my own George Thorogood, and I'm happy to say that I'm drinking a delicious breakfast porter from Eagle Park Brewing. Just had one of these the other day, and it was delicious, and I just started drinking one now, and it is still delicious. Definitely one of our favorite breweries from the area. If you're ever in our neck of the woods, you should definitely check them out. They're great. Brad also works for them. Full disclosure, but we still like them anyways, even if he didn't. And as you know, Hair of the Dogcast is brought to you by executive producers such as Mark Nino, Tyler Keller, and Brian Ward, and awesome listeners such as yourself. We'd love it if you went to patreon.com/Hair of the Dogcast and looked at the many tiers that we have for any budget if you feel like supporting the Dogcast. If not, we're still happy you're here, so enjoy the episode. Just ask if you're in the giving mood. If you feel like giving us a review on one of your podcast services of choice, that would be awesome. Preferably a positive review would be amazing. So without further ado, we're going to get right back into part 2 of the console launch ranking. And we last left off finishing up the Sega Saturn, and we are going into the Sony PlayStation. So enjoy. Here we go. Part 2 starts now. Gobble, gobble. Go.
All right, Maddie, what's the next one?
Next up is the system you may have heard of called the Sony PlayStation.
Oh, baby.
Oh, boy.
Released in September of 1995. It retailed for $300, which would be $511 today.
511.
Quite an interesting lineup of
No packing
titles.
game.
Yeah, no, those aren't
No
packing. It's
packing
just so we had Ridge Racer, Battle Arena Toshiden, ESPN Extreme Games.
It's supposed to be Toshinden.
It's Toshinden.
Toshinden? Okay. I was wondering about that.
You were correct.
Thanks, guys.
Kill Leak, the DNA Imperative,
Wow.
Infinity.
Never heard of that one.
NBA Jam Tournament Edition, Raiden Project, Rayman, and Street Fighter the movie. The video game.
Okay. Peter Jackson's Street Fighter, the movie, the game.
Wow, I am surprised at how terrible this lineup looks.
Yeah, it's really not a good...
There are 2 good games in here. I will tell you immediately that it is Ridge Racer and Rayman.
Ridge Racer.
The launch was pretty...
Cruising USA really wasn't... I thought that was... Or whatever, one of the Cruising games. I thought that was... Came out
Oh, yeah.
early, but it didn't.
N64. That was an early
I got my
N64.
It was N64, yeah.
Sorry.
I've heard Street
no,
Fighter
it's
the
okay.
movie isn't a terrible game.
Better than the movie?
Yeah. The movie's really cool, so let's
The
stop
movie
there.
is great.
You should check out our episode where we
Compare that to Mortal Kombat.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be
man.
I made a valiant effort to try and save that, and it just didn't work.
You did good, man. You did all right.
Change the channel.
I do remember my buddy got the PlayStation. He had Ridge Racer, and it did come with a demo disc of Battle Arena Toshinden. But I remember he was kind of forlorn after he got it, because he looked at me, he's like, I should have got a Saturn.
Ooh,
A lot
boy,
of people
if he
thought that,
only knew.
apparently. I actually did a lot of research on this one, because this is when consoles were finally hitting the mainstream, and everyone was just kind of like, 3D? Are you fucking kidding me? This is going to happen? Like, people were so fucking apeshit out of their minds about it. Mm-hmm. Like, even I remember it being like 6 years old and seeing like a 3D game for the first time, and I'm like, are you fucking kidding me?
Well, like camera angles,
I'm like
it's like a movie.
Well, I'm like, this can happen? And I was like 6 years old, and I was just like, oh, whoa, all right. And I wasn't up with any of this shit, but I just remember being mesmerized. At this point, I only had a Game Boy. Let's be clear.
Yeah.
And so seeing that shit, I'm just like, but this doesn't have Mario moving to the right of the screen.
And, you know, if if Crash Bandicoot was a launch day title, it would go up a full letter grade and a half.
Absolutely,
I think.
you're absolutely right.
But they don't have any knockout games, and I'm very unimpressed with the launch lineup. I think the price, the timing, everything else is good.
Have you ever played the first Rayman, though?
I know Rayman is. I haven't, but it's a game that I've only heard great things of and people love.
So this is a great platformer. The problem with Rayman on the PlayStation is this is one of their first kind of like forays into it, and so everything's very tight on Rayman as a pixelized character. They were focused more on the art rather than the actual gameplay itself. It reminds me of the Sega Genesis Aladdin.
Oh yeah,
because the NES one is better gameplay wise, period. And you can also navigate the actual levels. But with this, when it's so tight on the character, you can't see much of anything else that's going on. So there's a lot of blind jumps and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Otherwise, the animation quality, it's not something that any of the previous systems could do. I think it's fantastic. I bought it on the when I got the PS3. I literally just wanted to play every Rayman game after playing Origins.
Yeah, Origins is fantastic.
Right,
It's
and Legends as well.
Yep.
And I just said, I'm going to play every single one of these. Now, the 3D Raymans are fantastic, but this one is kind of they went for it. I think especially like the fact that my girlfriend Allie has actually played this one.
Executive
kind of astonishing.
producer, Allie?
Yes, absolutely.
Yes. Okay.
Maddie, what do you think in letter grade for the PS1?
You know, I was a late adopter of the PS1. I actually bought it off eBay and then bought like all the Final Fantasy Origins and Chronicles and all the stuff for like
Anthology,
$50 total for everything. But I remember seeing like when Final Fantasy VII came out, it was just like Final Fantasy.
But we're talking launch.
But for this, this
If
launch,
you looked at the launch,
It's launch.
I don't like the launch at all.
Yeah.
It's a
Really?
bad
Ridge
lineup,
Racer's
unfortunately.
Good, though.
It's good. It's not a killer
it's
game.
not a game that just shows
I'll tell
off
you what,
everything.
it deserves better than the 3D.
yeah, helicopter.
It does deserve better than the 3DO. I agree with that.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's, I definitely above
you sure?
that. I mean,
Yes.
it's way better than that
Crash and Burn.
Neogeo shit.
Because it actually has options.
Crash and Burn had FMV racers that would say, like, when you selected a car, they'd be like, I'm going to kill you. Oh, and it was like,
That was fun.
yeah, it was great.
I mean, that's...
What are you thinking, Maddie?
I guess maybe a C plus or a B minus. I'm gonna say C plus because that launch.
I'm gonna go C.
The launch just isn't that good.
If you're going to say this is a better launch lineup than Saturn.
But then that's not good either.
don't
Yeah,
know.
so maybe I'll say B minus then.
I'm
'cause it
sorry,
can't
C.
be.
C.
I'm saying C plus is kind of where I want to put it right between there.
You're
what,
the
what makes
decider.
it better than Saturn for you?
Pretty much a lot.
I don't know. I think
It's a
it's
better
just
controller.
it's a better console
It's a better
overall.
console, yeah. It runs better. It plays better.
We're talking about the launches.
We're talking about the launches. Yes, we're talking about a system that waited to release when it was ready.
You're talking about a guy who didn't own a DualShock the first time he bought one. I played it with the original, just...
Oh, you were early.
No,
No. I bought one from like a used game store.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And I said, I don't need this to play Final Fantasy VII, do I? And the guy behind the counter said no. And I said, okay.
I would put it over the Sega Saturn for no other reason than this was a brand new company getting into games, and they made a tasteful console and that showed a lot of promise, and it was able to make a huge claim and make a huge stake, and they put their flag down and it worked.
Yep.
I
think it's kind of a glorious entrance considering what it could have been on the opposite scale. If it wasn't even close to this, it wouldn't have even worked at all.
But looking at that lineup of games, it's
So
a
what's
C
your-
for
what's
me.
your rating?
It's a C. I would put it.
I think C is fair.
So I think actually we're technically running at C plus as an average.
Okay, C plus.
All right.
We have one more this generation.
We do.
Last but certainly not least, we have the
last but least is what.
Last and least,
Shade, baby.
technically.
Nintendo 64, released September of 1996.
Yeah, baby.
The console retailed for $199, which is $330 today.
Not a bad price.
Games were about $70.
Hard to
or
pin down a
16.
price. Yeah.
But you got
I think it
an
was around
average.
They were expensive. I remember it when it came out. Yeah.
Well, it was expensive
Packing-
because those companies had to buy the cartridges from Nintendo and then sell a game
That's
on
right.
top of it.
Right.
Can you go down the exorbitantly large launch lineup here?
Huge lineup. We have Super Mario 64 and Pilot Wings Infinity.
No.
I mean 64.
Infinity.
But now to clarify, is that the 64th Super Mario game? Is that the 64th
Right.
Pilot Wings game?
No, it's just like Super Nintendo did Super everything.
What does the
And
64 mean?
64 did 64 bits.
Why isn't
Okay.
69?
64
Actually
bit system.
confused my mother. She did ask what 64 meant, and I said,
Yeah.
bits. And
It's got blast processing, Mom.
No, it doesn't.
obviously
It doesn't
didn't
have
know. I'm
blast
like,
processing.
I read in a magazine it means bits, and she's like, "What does that mean?" And I
What'd
said,
you call
I
me?
don't know.
Yeah.
It does what Genesis
Listen here, Bits.
Dylan?
So
Bits make me hamburger helper.
this is an odd situation here, where one of the killer apps for a console, probably one of the top 5 games for the entire console, came out day one. It's very smart when you're releasing something to have the killer app, and Mario 64 was the killer app for the
Ride that
Nintendo.
wave, baby.
It was, yeah. If you read Next Gen magazine back in the day, this was like the best game ever made.
It showed off what the system could do really well too.
And sadly, though, the rest of, and Pilot Wings, but that's it.
Pilot Wings 64 rules, and not enough people actually did play it or gave it the attention it deserved, because in that game they truly revolutionized physics in video games, and I don't think people are paying attention to that.
But 2 games.
2 games, and they had to hold off the launch of the system until Mario 64 was complete.
Does anyone know? But also,
cool.
did they know?
We're delaying the system so Mario can get more time.
Yeah. And the controller was designed around Mario 64.
Oh yeah, just the controller alone should not get a full letter grade.
That was a
You play
weird
Pokemon
controller,
Stadium.
yeah.
Get out of here.
Not a launch game. Fucking love Pokemon
I
Stadium.
love Pokemon Stadium. I'm
That
not
was a
judging
fun
it based
game.
off that, but I'll say
Guys,
the switch between everything. I do like the fact that some games need this, some games need this. It wasn't well designed, but I'll tell you,
And it's
it works.
amazing when I was able to just move my thumb to the other stick on other games.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Instead
tell
of
you-
having a whole other thing to hold.
Right.
I knew that, it was only coming out with 2 games, but yet I was thirsty for this fucking system.
Everyone
It had
was.
been
We're so
delayed.
hyped up.
If you saw a Mario 64 commercial and you didn't want
Yes.
if you didn't like cream your jeans, you're crazy.
Yep. And
Absolutely.
I don't even think it was hype. It was a fucking phenomenal game at the time. It's the proto 3D platformer.
This is truly what made Shigeru Miyamoto a household name. And because I think like for a lot of people, they were just like they were fans of this when they were younger, but now there was like this new thing, and people were suddenly paying attention to who was making them, like the artists behind them. And I think 64 completely reshaped everything. And they were going to make it like level based.
And even with only 2 games, it is an extremely confident launch with Mario 64.
Yep.
I
Because
would have bought both of them.
it's one of those things where it's like, we have a Game Boy and we have Tetris. Do you need anything else to validate your
Right.
purchase here? Because that's all you need it for.
Perfect
if nothing
handheld
else.
game.
It's more. It's not even like this. Never felt like the launch of a console. It felt like the launch of Mario 64. And you just needed the
True, yeah.
Nintendo 64
when
to
you
play.
when you
right.
bought a Wii, was it not the launch of Twilight Princess?
Right? Yeah. Exactly.
No, it's
We'll
the launch
get
of
to
Wii
it.
Sports.
Right.
For grandma,
Oh,
for
yeah.
sure.
For the whole family.
Oh, yeah.
But more so for the 64.
You know what? I'm going to give this one a B-, unfortunately.
I agree.
I agree
If they
with
had one more in the mix, I might have felt a different way. But the lack of options and the controller and kind of like this is kind of a decline for Nintendo in a lot of ways that kind of exists throughout even the GameCube era. It's got to be a B-.
Yeah. There was a lot of hope at this point when this thing launched. I think it proved to not be the greatest console ever, and a lot of drought between.
But we are judging
this and when Wave Race came out a month
Wave
later.
Race.
So
Do you remember the the 1996 Nagano Olympics game? I rented
No.
that probably 1,500
Naga,
times.
no.
Holy cow.
Okay.
But
I don't
as
know
far as the
why.
launch goes,
I don't like the Olympics.
B-.
B-, I can get behind. So, Gen 5 people, looks like N64 is coming out victorious.
I think
Followed
I
by
suppose launch-wise, yeah.
kind of rare.
PS1.
wow, they just went right down. The launch was basically
Just went backwards?
or the ranking.
All right. Did you want to take this one, Brad?
I'll take Gen 6 here.
Okay,
Yeah,
then I will
baby.
take Gen 7.
All right. Coming up first, we have the Sega Dreamcast that came out $99.99.
Yes.
The console was $199, $312 adjusted for inflation. Came with the console and the controller. Games $50 adjusted for inflation, $78. Of course, it had a built-in modem, which was very exciting. The Dreamcast was in many ways ahead of its time. Also, not the greatest system. It kind of launched a little.
Shut up, Brad.
I don't know.
Honestly, this is a really good lineup.
It came out. It came out and was very popular until the next systems, the subsequent systems came. But
It popped its cherry a little too early.
and this is the point now where we're getting a shitload of launch titles. I'm counting 18 launch titles.
We can highlight a few.
Let's each just choose one and we'll talk about that. We can go from there. Sonic Adventure, Sonic Games. This was a huge seller for the system. Who isn't a Sonic fanboy, doesn't love a chili dog, and wants to fuck Big the cat?
Do you remember the trailer?
What's that?
The trailer where he's running on the deck and a blue like a killer whale
Well,
jumps
yeah.
over.
That's the only
fucking,
level worth playing in Sonic Adventure.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
True,
100%
but
right.
this was a big deal, and I remember my buddy getting a Sega Dreamcast, going over to Michael Stone's dad's place because his dad got the Dreamcast.
Michael Stone.
And I remember
Porn
just
star.
playing
Mike Stone.
playing Sonic Adventure and being like, damn, I kind of think I want a Dreamcast. And it was a cool looking system. I liked the way it's I liked the way it sounded. I liked the way like it had all this extra functionality. You could talk to your seamen. Like it was fun.
Yes, eventually, yes.
So I think
Talk to my seamen.
Sonic Adventure was great.
you doing, boys?
Ready to Rumble Boxing was a great arcadey style boxing game.
Soul Calibur.
I mean,
come on.
That was big.
There you go.
was huge.
That's the crown jewel right there.
Now I've seen a lot of these in Let's Plays, including you have it listed as Blue Stringer. It's Blue Stinger.
Blue Stinger. Sorry.
And it's kind of a survival horror, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
That was interesting to watch. But
Hydro Thunder. Love Hydro Thunder.
So
more Thunder games.
and
Mortal Kombat Gold, the only possibly acceptable version of Mortal Kombat 4.
I never played any of the
Pen
Mortal Kombat
Pen
games.
Trisalon? Are you fucking kidding me?
I
That
don't
was
know.
a launch?
Okay, I don't know anything about this one.
Oh, I've played this a lot. The first time I played it was in a car dealership. They had it in like the kiddie
I thought
room.
Tom had a stroke when he wrote the title there.
So it's literally it's a game about like these. It's a racing game
Yeah.
starring like aquatic creatures, and it's running. It's the characters actually
Yeah.
running, but they look crazy, and it had such weird character to it. This is one of those games where I looked back on it. I played it maybe 3 times in my life, and I said, "What's that fucking game called?"
Yeah.
But I fucking knew it, and then I said, "Oh shit." And I realized I was a fan of Pen Trisalon.
Power Stone, great little 4-player
Sure.
kind of arcade
Arena.
fun fighting game.
I like Power Stone.
This was the first time I think that the home games, the versions of the home games actually surpassed the arcade games, the ones that were actually ports.
This is the death of the arcade.
Soul Calibur was the better version of the game. House of the Dead.
liked
Like
Soul
this
Edge.
is
This was
way
based-
better than what like Neogeo tried to do and make
Right.
arcadey style games because that was terrible with what they did. Whereas the Dreamcast nailed it.
You're walking on thin ice, buddy. Thin trice line.
He's holding his Nom 1975 cart over. He's gonna smash it on my head.
So the Dreamcast was based on the Naomi.
Burn it with his tears.
Was based on their fucking hardware, the Sega Naomi hardware. So House of the Dead 2, was almost like a fucking arcade perfect port.
Yeah.
Eventually when Crazy Taxi came out.
the only problem with that is it didn't come with a light gun.
It didn't come with it. You could buy it though.
You could.
Yeah.
I think it might have tricked a lot of people into not.
Oh, yeah, I never got it. I wanted to, and NFL 2K looked fucking phenomenal.
Sure.
Just the frame rate.
I was
I mean,
more of a
it looked
Blitz
like you were
guy,
watching a TV, like an actual broadcast at the time. Now it doesn't, not so much. So.
A nice. You wanted to mention Arrow Wings?
I've
Matt?
never played it.
Okay, I wasn't
unfortunately.
sure. You just
mentioned
highlighted
it.
it there.
Oh no, I'm sorry. I'm just clicking.
Yeah. So
He's like, sure, yeah.
there's
one of these, right?
another like pretty solid rounded lineup of a lot of different stuff with some really high quality games for a launch.
Yes.
B.
I'm B plus.
I got to go B+ here.
Okay. I'll
If not a
actually
B
agree to
minus.
that. I'll fall in
Soul
line.
Calibur is still looks
pretty good.
It's astonishing what they did.
And yeah,
Okay, up next we
tell your
have
friends to come over.
we
Maybe they got
have the PlayStation 2.
I actually will.
That came out in the October of 2000. The console launched at $299, $451 adjusted for inflation with the console and the controller. Games $50, $76 adjusted for inflation. Now there's a shitload of games here, so I'm just going to go through quick and mention ones that I remember playing at launch. Dynasty Warriors 2 was near and dear to my family. I remember seeing Eternal Ring and thinking I wanted it, but probably glad I didn't. Fantavision, weird fireworks game. Here it's great. Let's see what else. Smuggler's Run and Midnight Club. Both were quality car games, I remember.
Did you play those?
I had Midnight Club. My buddy had Smuggler's Run, and we wound up switching for a while, which was great. I think if I were to revisit Midnight Club, it would be horseshit. Even I can remember it being horseshit.
Right.
In my head, Dark Cloud was a launch game, but I'm guessing it must have come out a month or so.
It was a little bit
afterwards.
after. Yep.
Tekken Tag Tournament, fuck yeah. Tekken Tag Tournament has Tekken Bowling, which is the best thing in the Tekken franchise.
Yeah, that is pretty sweet.
I never played that. Yeah.
Which one?
Tekken Tag Tournament has that bowling mini game, which was I played that.
I've only heard everything about this.
I remember I bought this from my buddies Tommy and Ryan, and I never played the fighting stuff ever. I would play Tekken Bowling for hours straight.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, it's one of the things I've heard about too, but never. Well,
it reminds me of the Nintendo DS when that launched. There's the mini games that you can do at the top of it, and playing blackjack with a Luigi ends up being the thing that gets played the most.
Sure.
Yeah. It's okay. It's great.
There's, of course,
SSX.
Unreal Tournament, and Time Splitters were ones I knew as well.
Time Splitters, yeah. Great game.
How about, you were mentioning SSX?
SSX for me, none of the other games really spoke to me too much, but SSX, I think, I don't know, I haven't revisited the review scores, but I think that was one of the killer apps. I don't think this was a very strong launch, at least compared to what the PlayStation 2 did down the line. There wasn't a lot.
This is speaking quantity over quality is what I'm seeing.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
There's a lot here, and I'll say that there are a few things here that I find pretty okay. I think a lot, especially I have a very vivid memory of going to New Year's Eve in Ohio at my great aunt and uncle's place, and we saw the PlayStation 2 and we were like, whoa, what do you have for it? He starts playing X Squad and I kind of go, oh. I'm just I like fireworks. Actually, let's go watch the fireworks.
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
Was the Street Fighter game good at all?
Time Splitters is good.
Time Splitters is great.
Yeah.
That was
It's like GoldenEye, but you can also make your own levels and...
Yeah, that's
A friend of mine he said he spent hours trying to just design his own stuff because it was pretty deep.
I played on.
I drew a dick.
2.
What's it?
I just drew a dick. Yeah.
Walls and stuff.
You should see all of his Smash Brothers stages.
Literally. I am honestly underwhelmed by this, and I would give this a lower rating than I thought initially I would. I would put this down at C+.
I'm going to agree with you, actually. The quantity gives people a lot of options.
Yeah.
I think the PlayStation 2 is one of those actual near-perfect systems, though, because of just how durable and straightforward it is for people.
Yeah. But imagine if, Final Fantasy X was a launch title or something like
would
that.
have annihilated.
If it would have came out in 2001, you'd have Grand Theft Auto 3, you'd have Final Fantasy X, you'd have Metal Gear Solid 2.
Metal Gear Solid 2, that's a fucking...
That's
that was a launch title?
That was all
I'd rather
in a
have
3-month period.
Mario 64 and Pilot Wings than 32 games that are fine. Some of them are great, but most of them are meh.
Yeah.
That's true. Yep.
So I would be in the C range.
C+.
Maybe not a C+. Okay.
I'll go C+, yeah.
All right.
Up next is the greatest console that's ever been made, actually, the Nintendo GameCube.
I'm kind of almost there with you.
Came out November 2001. The console released at $199, adjusted for inflation, $293.
My little lunchbox.
A little cheaper.
lunchbox guy.
Games were $50, adjusted for inflation, $74. Now, there's only one thing that needs to be mentioned. That's Super Monkey Ball. A+ is the launch. We all agree on this one.
That's a great game, yeah.
Hold on.
Yeah.
We've
Fuck
got
off.
Star Wars.
Rogue Squadron is big, too.
Rogue Squadron. Or Rogue Leader, yeah.
Yeah, Star Wars
Leaders.
Rogue Leader Rogue Squadron 2, one of the best GameCube games.
Phenomenal.
Honestly.
I still play that.
I used to play that in front of people, and they would still, like, in college, I had it on my Wii, and people would be like, "Whoa, a new Star Wars game, right?" I'm like, "No, actually, it's a game." From 9 years ago.
Luigi's Mansion, a brand new entry into the Mario universe. Luigi gets his own game.
How was the first one? I never played it.
You never played it? It's a very short experience, but it's a memorable and fun experience. It's a little annoying at times. However, I will say that I got the pants charmed off of me, like period, bar none.
Wave Race Blue Storm, another very solid, good title. My experience, though, from everything I've read, people talking about the launch of the GameCube, is they wound up playing Super Monkey Ball and its mini games way longer than they thought they would, and they kept them up. And me and my friends all became very obsessed with Super Monkey Ball.
Monkey Ball's great.
Not only is it like a super solid single player experience, it's got multiplayer packed in mini games. Monkey Golf, Monkey Pool.
Was this the first foray into the Super Monkey Ball?
Yeah.
That's the first game?
And it was, I would argue, a perfect video game. Not a single thing needs to be changed other than you might need to tweak some of the difficulty, because getting into those master levels at all in that first one, nearly impossible. Luckily, our friend Matt Underwood fucking did it, and we all copied his game save, so we had all the levels.
Oh, really? Okay.
Nice. Otherwise, getting into the master mode, that's fucking tough, because you have to get through 50 expert and then 10 expert plus levels in order to unlock it with only the 3 lives you start with.
That's insane.
Yeah, you intrepid kids, you.
Crazy Taxi, awesome.
That's a classic.
Not a new thing, but awesome.
Right.
Batman Vengeance, underwhelming. Disney's Tarzan Untamed, who gives a shit?
Phil Collins.
With just the games we've mentioned, though.
I wanna know. Can you show me?
With just the games we have mentioned, I would be very comfortable putting this at a B or higher.
I'm gonna give this a B.
I would as well. For me, it was just a Rogue Squad or Rogue Leader was the only game I played until I think Eternal Darkness came out.
I think for the most part, when people started playing Rogue Leader, they realized that for the first time, Nintendo was the graphic powerhouse.
Honestly, yeah, yep.
And I think that's a very.
It was more powerful than PlayStation 2.
That's a very important thing they will never replicate ever again.
And the Resident Evil remake was just around the corner as well, which wasn't out yet for the launch. But
I got that and it made me poop my little boy pants.
Me too. Pooped everywhere.
I would be okay with a B minus.
Let's go for a B then.
Okay. B.
All right. Coming last to the party, also the same month as the GameCube, we have the Microsoft Xbox, November 2001. The console released at $299, adjusted for inflation, $441.14, which
14
is
cents.
Interesting because the PlayStation 2 was a year earlier, it was $451. That explains inflation a little bit. Games, $50, inflation $74. There's one thing that towers above all the other games
NASCAR
here,
Thunder 2002.
and that's Shrek.
Okay, we can agree to disagree.
Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2X. No, I mean, talking about killer apps, Halo Combat Evolved is as important as Mario 64 in defining a console, giving it its place.
For certain people.
There was a lot of people that were reticent to accept Microsoft buying their way into the console wars, and the fact that Halo Combat Evolved was such a fucking good game. This is my first time hooking up 4 systems and having 16-player things.
LAN parties.
Halo parties became a every other week situation in Millbank, and very important.
What else were you gonna do?
It proved.
I mean, that kept us away from drinking for 2 years. When we started drinking, our Halo parties lasted 2 hours.
Yeah.
Instead of until the next day at 2 p.m. on Mountain Dew.
Yeah, I was going to say, the Mountain Dew sales in that area must have...
This is when Mountain Dew
Bill
started.
Super Value couldn't keep it stopped.
This is when
they saw the Xbox and they're like, I want green, more green.
Yep.
And then literally they would go see Mountain Dew, they'd be like, that green.
Don't forget the Doritos, guys. Come on. This is when those stocks, Frito-Lay stocks fucking went skyrocketing.
Hell yeah, they did.
But yeah, Halo, I mean, just proving that you can do a first-person shooter well on a console. Wow.
Fusion Frenzy. Fantastic. So many games.
Graphically not so great, but just,
like literally
so much fun.
I only remember the sumo game on that. Fusion Frenzy.
Yep.
I think Fusion Frenzy's fun. I really do.
My favorite is where the tower is going. You have to either jump or duck. and
the
you
little
keep getting
rails.
higher and it goes faster.
What is Fusion Frenzy? Like,
It's
what-
just a bunch of mini games. Yeah.
Oh, is it? Okay.
It's like Mario
It's a
Party
party
without the board, basically. And
I always thought it was a racing game.
And you can spell board either way you want to there.
Yeah, right.
Cell damage was like a vehicular combat that was cell shaded.
Cell shaded.
It was
Yeah.
very.
Oh, okay.
It's a very good game, by the way.
Yeah.
It's on Switch and it's regularly on sale for about $2.
Yeah.
If you ever want to try it out.
Dead or Alive 3. Sports games. Oddworld Munch's Odyssey was a very big release.
It was.
I don't know how much I've never played Munch's Odyssey. I really did like Abe's
Odyssey.
I found that one.
I fell off of Munch's pretty quickly. I was a huge fan of the Abe's Odyssey on the PlayStation, but yeah, something, I don't know. It seemed endearing, little guy in a wheelchair that you had to push around. You had to push Munch around in the wheelchair.
I think that part of it is super interesting, and I think that as far as like platforming goes, that company, I don't remember what the production company of
Oddworld Inhabitants.
Okay.
Yeah.
For the most part, I was always intrigued, especially when it came to like Stranger's Wrath and stuff like that. I was impressed that they really wanted people to love this world, and I liked it a lot, but they just couldn't get people on board.
The art design was weird and
So
off-putting
crazy.
to me.
You think so?
Well,
For just Munch or all of it?
back then. Just like Abe's like mouth was like sewed shut, and then
Yeah,
like
kind of
pushing
like
that thing
a
in the
frog
wheelchair.
mouth.
I'm like, it didn't speak to me.
Sure.
Back then, it does now, but
It's
like
a real David and Goliath story.
But
I don't
think
read the Bible, Tom.
That's the Bible?
for the most part, I find these games like very interesting and agreeable.
Yeah.
And I'm going to argue very ahead of their time.
One thing about the launch was the fact that they got Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2X, which rubbed me weird.
Triple
I'm like,
X?
everyone else is getting Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3, and you're getting a redone version of 2,
Right.
which made me think, oh man, the Xbox is pretty lame. Don't you guys think so? Until I played Halo once, and then I'm like, oh fuck, I have to get a third system now?
I just don't understand how you navigated that first level. I don't understand how anyone did it. It's more confusing than any Doom level I've ever played.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I never had any issues, but
So I know I was never a Halo guy. I've said it a million times. The Xbox launched.
Your Master Chief standee with a dildo attached to it begs to differ.
I
you
said
opened up Tom's
not-
closet too?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, not back then. By the way, just an aside, 31 years ago today, the Berlin Wall came down, uniting Germany. But
Were you there?
But more importantly, 16 years ago today, Halo 2 came out. So
Fuck yeah, it did. Two
Happy
years
birthday.
after it was supposed to.
Yeah,
I
happy
remember
birthday.
driving around with Seth Kramer just dreaming about Halo 2.
I thought it was very applicable to the moment. Anyways, I'm sorry to derail that.
And everyone fucking loves that one too, eh?
I didn't get an Xbox right away because nothing really spoke to me. Even though my friends had it, I played Project Gotham. I ended up loving the Project Gotham games.
that was good.
Bizarre creations.
As far as a
RIP.
launch goes, though, they had 4 ports on this system, internet ready.
Yep.
And some really killer games, really good lineup. I want to put this B-. I think would be a fair thing to put it at. I would personally maybe put it up at a B, but I'm going to just say that I'm the only one with that Halo bias maybe, so B- is where I think it should.
I'll give it the B- as well.
To B-. Yep.
I'll be a C+. Fuck yeah.
So we all average out to B-. That's how it works. Okay, now we are moving on to Gen 7.
Do we need to do a recap of what everything got here? Tom?
Oh, yeah, all right, tell me.
let's-
I'm curious.
Yeah. Whatever.
what do we got? What's our ranking?
Number 1, we have the GameCube.
All right.
Number 2, we have the Xbox. Number 3, the PS2. Wait, was the Dreamcast this generation too?
Yeah.
Oh, Dreamcast is actually higher than all of them.
Okay, that's the one.
Dreamcast somehow got higher than the GameCube.
Wow.
I agree with that.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, so-
Dreamcast,
Find that okay?
GameCube, Xbox, PS2.
Got it, guys. Okay.
Last, wow.
Gen 7, Dylan.
Gen 7. This is one of the ones I was super this is at a time where I probably had a job for the first time. And so, because my
I remember
mom,
buying this shit.
yeah, my mom actually vowed to never buy me something like video games again at this point. So if you want it, you got to earn it. And that's kind of the era that we're entering in here now. The first one to release is the Xbox 360 in November of 2005.
Oh, yeah.
The console itself was $399, and that kind of goes to $533, which is kind of crazy. We're talking about the Pro one, though. That's the one with the actual hard drive attached to it, because they did offer the core system, and I just remember being in high school and people being like, nobody bought the core. That's
It was
dumb.
just the same thing without the hard drive, right?
Actually, I just remember this now. It had the hard drive, but it also had a wireless controller.
Oh, okay.
Yep. Which everyone wanted.
Right.
Everyone was tired of wired
Which was
controllers.
amazing.
Yeah.
You could turn the console on by pressing the button in the middle of the
Remote
controller.
Control, yeah.
It was fucking pretty mind blowing.
Suck it, Neogeo, am I right?
And the core...
Brad, one more time, I swear to God.
Yeah, dude.
Fuck you. You know Neo Geo is going to be like the number one ever.
The games were 60, which inflates to 80, which also really doesn't technically make a lot of sense, but it's fine. It's so I'm browsing at these launch games. I don't know if any of these stand out to you guys, because I played a lot of these.
Me too.
Particularly, there are some of them that were kind of I consider them kind of game changers, in the same way as Halo.
Yeah.
And they're not talked about a lot anymore, and they should have gotten better sequels than they got. And I'm speaking mostly about Condemned Criminal Origins.
Yeah.
Yes.
Good game.
That game rules. That game rocks my socks.
Never played the first one.
Call of Duty 2.
Wonderful.
Game changers, the Call of Duty franchise, and what they've all moved
Multiplayer.
forward.
I was a huge Call of Duty fan on the PC. I played the shit out of those, and none of my friends really were PC gamers. And I kept telling them, like, you have to play this game called Call of Duty, like, but don't play it if you're nursing or pregnant, because it's just, it's so intense. And then this was the first time that, like, a lot of my friends got to experience Call of Duty.
First time they stormed the beaches in Normandy.
And Call of Duty 2 is fucking great.
It's so good.
Making Normandy fun again. Am I right?
Yeah, you're scaling the wall, and fucking the speech by Reagan starts playing in the
Look at
background.
me, I'm my grandpa.
It's like Snake Eater.
Grandpa, look at this game. Ah!
But that was Call of Duty 2 is huge.
I will say Peter Jackson's King Kong is a very good video game.
Man, what a weird one, though.
It didn't
Michel
deserve to be as
Ancel?
good as it was.
I read more about that game than I actually played it, because I was so hyped for the movie, and
I
then just
beat it,
hearing about
yeah.
the game was played. Like, it
Yeah.
was a very unique game. There is a wet fart, though, for this release, which was supposed to be big, and that's Perfect Dark Zero.
Wow, what a bad game.
What a terrible game.
Perfect
You guys
Dark?
didn't play Tiger Woods 06. That was not
okay.
great.
I just don't understand.
Perfect
why.
Dark is a franchise that's getting a sequel, and
a game that revolutionized first-person shooters and actual like adventure storytelling in the first person, in the way that you could like almost like what do they call it when you have like your BioShocks or your like Preys? It's called
First person?
No. It's oh my god, it's
Immersive first person thing.
something like that.
Yeah, no, the
Boater
genre,
simulators.
though, like- yeah, no, it's simulators.
What?
It's like no, but like it's like in the way that like
Power
they gave you
fantasy.
so many options. It almost becomes a different style of game. It's not just a shooter, because in shooters
There's
it's
like a puzzle
kill this.
exploration element to it.
Yep,
Yeah.
there's a progression to
Actual
the
options.
I remember getting Perfect Dark
RPG.
Zero, playing that for all of 10 minutes, like, what is this? This is bad.
Same here.
Do you remember how
I had no reference to the
And
first
I've,
one.
I've tried to go back, too, and I'm like, no, this is as bad as I remembered it. There's nothing here to like.
Do you remember how sticky
It was just
the
honest.
aiming
It was
felt?
like
And it was obtuse. It didn't make sense. I didn't know where to go. The levels weren't laid out properly.
Yeah.
Oh man, I hated that game.
I thought it was just a generic like
another one I can actually speak to is Cameo Elements of
Cameo
Power.
is really cool.
I like
Cameo is
Cameo.
very good.
Yeah.
I still got it, man.
It's a good Rare game. It's before they really cut the balls off of Rare.
Yeah.
I'm going to say that, because this actually reeks of Rare. I think this was a...
You
I
reek
think
of
this
Rare,
was a-
sir.
I think this was a short development
How do you
cycle
like
for
your
this game.
steaks? I'll have them rare.
Rare Cameo.
Well, I think for the most part, like, I think that this one had to be rushed a little bit. And it kind of shows, but at the same time, like the way they use color and
Yeah.
graphics and gameplay,
Very pretty.
It's a great platformer.
And it had a good. I liked the what you transformed into different animals.
Elementals.
Elementals of power. Yeah, right. Elements of power. I thought the gameplay loop of that was great. I played it to completion.
It's fun. It was relatively short, but I will say that it was replayable. I like that. I don't know, guys.
Project-
Gun. I'm sorry, Gun. Jesus Christ, Gun is a great video game.
It's a great name for a game.
It is. It's a great
It's
name.
about,
I've never played it.
What if they added like thunder in front of it though?
Gun
Thunder 2.
Gun Thunder's good.
Gun Thunder 2 Infinite.
So
Gun Lord.
But Gun was also on previous gen systems.
Trevor McFur and the Gun Thunder.
I do want to give a shout out Project Gotham Racing 3. I don't know if you guys are into racing games.
I watched a cousin play it.
I played that probably more than I played any other launch game. I could actually import my fucking CDs into the game and play.
Yeah, that was a cool feature back then.
Because
All your Hoobastank records.
Yeah, and remember,
They had a lot of them.
Come on, Dylan.
I know you liked Hoobastank.
I like Fall Out Boy.
I did too.
I think this also had the dark days of the Tony Hawk series. American Wasteland was one of the worst Tony Hawk games. They had become extremely stagnant before they came up with the one after this.
Okay.
It's very aptly named then.
Yeah. They were very heavy into the Bam Margera phase of Tony Hawk, which was not great.
Quake 4. There are some good games.
Call of Duty 2.
Call of Duty 2 is, I would say...
That and Peter Jackson's King Kong was super hyped up as being an important launch title. And I would argue the game doesn't get enough love, as Dylan was saying.
It's a fun first-person adventure game in the way that they expand upon that movie in actually kind of interesting ways. Peter Jackson actually had his hand in the development of this.
I wish he had his hand in more video games like he had originally wanted to, that a lot of them fell apart.
I mean, have you seen the Hobbit trilogy? It's basically a video game. He should just be making video games.
I'd rather play Perfect Dark. Just kidding. But yeah, Project Gotham.
I'd rather play Perfect
Dark. Overall, though, not the greatest launch titles.
I think it's actually quite good. I am actually going to go to bat for this. I'm also going to give this a B.
Sir. Maddie, what do you think?
The only one I played was Cameo, which was a great game, but so I probably should abstain from voting on this one.
There's some good highs. There's some pretty fucking shitty lows.
It's a great controller,
Options aren't bad.
No, it's launched with the Duke.
It's the hits.
Oh, wait, no, wait. Sorry, we're talking about the 360. No, the 360 is one of the best controllers.
Yep. It is, and they're still repeating. They're literally repeating it every single time. Yeah.
I think it speaks something though that the most played game on the Xbox 360 until Halo 3 came out was Halo 2 though.
But better, more reliable online right away.
Xbox Live was a game changer. I don't know.
That's true.
I'm gonna go
Xbox Arcade.
I'm going C+.
The Blades interface.
I'm going C+ for this one.
I'm gonna go with you. I think that's a.
Okay. Wow. Okay.
Yep.
What about
Don't
you?
get me wrong. I love the fucking 360.
So the only one I played was Cameo. So yeah, I better not.
I played so much.
Okay. Well, then I guess we're going with C+. I mean, that's how it all works out math-wise.
All right.
It's interesting.
Hey, Benito. I've been reading the Bible lately, and nobody ever told me how many talking dogs and wizard battles were in this thing.
Well, Chris, you know what I always say. If you can understand Star Wars, you can understand the Bible.
Apocrypals, part of the Greenlit Podcast Network.
Do you love The Legend of Zelda? Here at Chat of the Wild, a Game Club podcast, we have been using our lens of truth to do deep dives on your favorite action-adventure series to find out what makes this franchise so amazing. Join us right now as we sail through the Wind Waker, or check out any of our past seasons. New episodes drop every Wednesday here on the Greenlit Podcast Network.
The next thing we have is what ends up being one of my favorite systems ever made. However, maybe not at the start. The PlayStation 3 in October of 2006. Now, no,
Adjusted
that's
for
not
inflation,
true.
$2 billion.
$5.99 US.
You got the date wrong. It was November of 2006.
Was it? Sorry.
Yeah.
Tom, when you take all the time to do these sheets, can you do them right?
It released the same day as the Wii. It was November 11th.
I might have noticed that, and I was going to change it.
It was November 11th, 2006. I was waiting in line. I hung out with a guy who had a fake eye and a guy with a stutter, and they played catch football together, and it was one of the most surreal moments of my life.
That's awesome.
It was freezing
a simpler
cold.
time.
We were all ready to die.
You were in line to get a Beanie Baby.
And then once you bought the PS3, you got shot for it. So.
Literally, I asked everyone in line, and I'm sitting there with a DS, and they're like, "What are you playing?" And I said, "Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past," and they're like, "Cool."
And you had so much cred back then.
I'm like, yeah. And then the guy with the stutter was like, "Cool."
Yikers.
It's fine. He was, though. And the guy with the glass eye, he took it out and he went, ooh.
Like Dark Crystal?
Pretty much. Yeah.
Okay. Nice.
So back in November 11, 2006.
Yeah.
It was November 11th. Don't quote me on that. I'm just pulling November 11th.
This
But it was
podcast is
November.
going to go to November 11th.
Get out of here. All right. Well, nobody bought this when it started out.
Because it was $5.99.
It was $599. $773 by.
But it was a
today's
Blu-ray
standards.
player,
I get that. I understand. And
which
then
were, them on their own were like fucking $600.
they had an option for a 60 gigabyte or a 20 gigabyte. And if you thought anything would work on a 20 gigabyte, I'm so sorry. I am so fucking sorry because that one was running $499.
Yeah. Was it the 20 gigabyte that didn't have the backwards compatibility chip
Yeah.
as well?
So that's
So it got the dumb look, and then it also had to deal with the
George
fact that
Foreman.
you were just like impotent.
But there's something to say of like the version 1 PS3 60 gigs could play PS1 and PS2 games backward compatible completely, which is something they
The
took
fact that
away
they
from the
removed
PS3.
The fact that they removed that also really does piss me off because I got like a nice like mid cycle, like the slim, but not like the tiny one. And I got it in like 2011, and I was like, "Oh shit!"
I like the PS3 toy version, which has like the little sliding top.
Yeah.
Oh, I hate that one.
That's ridiculous.
I'm like, wow.
How many-
You're phoning it in on this one?
No shit.
But
like,
they probably dropped another $100. So
Yeah,
So it's only
exactly.
$500.
So as far as games go,
Right. We got quite a bit here, but I'm going to tell you what. None of this matters to me, except for one, and that's Marvel Ultimate Alliance.
apart from that, look at all those numbers.
But Marvel Ultimate Alliance came out a year. I'm thinking, if I remember correctly, a year before this.
Call of Duty 3, Madden 07,
Not a
NBA
great
07, NBA 2K7, Ridge Racer 7, Tony Hawk 8,
Fucking
Tiger
Ridge
Woods
Racer.
07.
Hold on, Resistance: Fall of Man is pretty good.
Resistance
But I'm
was
just
the
saying, there's been
game.
a lot of it is sequels and iterations of games you've already played.
Right.
Tony Hawk's Project 8 was a new version of Tony Hawk, which was amazing.
Was it? That one's
Tony Hawk's
well
Project
revered?
8 is the best thing since Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3, in my opinion.
Okay.
What happened to Heavenly Blade? I thought Heavenly Blade was a launch.
Heavenly Sword. I think that came out. Yeah, I think that came out a little bit after.
Like maybe a month, you think?
Yes, it was launch window.
So there's a reason that nobody wanted a PlayStation 3 right away, and I think this is kind of proof of that.
Oh, it also came with a copy of Casino Royale,
Great.
The movie?
the movie. It was my first Blu-ray I ever watched. And I was like, this is so high def, I could see Mads Mikkelsen's lipstick.
I remember the first time seeing Hollow Man on DVD, and it was the same thing.
Right.
I was like, whoa.
I cannot see Kevin Bacon.
I cannot see him so well right now.
God, to hear that Chris Cornell intro to James
the
Bond.
song,
again.
that was
That's
a
actually
good
a
one.
badass song, by
That was
the
a
way.
plus song.
Nothing really stands out to me in this
No,
launch
honestly,
at all, though.
for what became one of my favorite systems, this is honestly a D+.
I held off.
Racer.
I held off almost a year until I got a high def TV, or that I could actually.
It turns out I waited 4, and I still didn't miss out on anything.
Yeah.
So I'm actually going to give this a D. Actually, I'm going to put this at a D.
Damn. Dr. D.
D puts it below 3DO.
Dr. D puts it.
C minus or C?
But 3DO's funny.
Okay.
I'm with this guy.
C minus is where that Neogeo garbage wound up. I think this should be on par with the Sega Saturn at a C.
C. I'm going to give it C minus.
C
I'll give
minus
it
is
C
good.
minus.
It's as bad as the Neogeo.
D plus. Come on.
C minus. I will stick with C minus.
I will stick with C.
I don't know how good
Price though, that price is terrible. I would give it D plus. for the
Resistance:
price.
Fall of Man
That's just
is
way
a very
too
good
much.
video game, though. I'm sorry.
That didn't launch though,
Way
did it?
too much.
It did, yes.
Yeah.
Resistance Fall of Man, I think that warrants a C minus.
It's a C minus.
Plus.
It's a C
It's
minus.
a D plus.
All right, rock, paper, scissors, Maddie, on shoot.
All right. Here we go.
All right, ready?
Rock, paper, scissors, shoot.
Oh, shoot.
Okay, on shoot.
On shoe.
Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Okay.
Oh.
D plus.
Plus. Okay, that's how it
It
works.
doesn't matter.
And then we have one of my favorite consoles of all time, and I will.
Were you in
say
line for this one?
I wasn't. This was the one I was in line for.
Okay. Oh,
Because
yeah.
We
Okay.
were both. We were either waiting for the PlayStation 3 or the Wii, and everyone we talked to is. We would say like, "What are you in line for?" And some people would be like, "Both." And then other ones would be like, no, the fucking Wii. Are you fucking kidding me? Twilight Princess. God damn it, you dumb idiots. Because they wanted to play it a month before the GameCube release of it.
Gotcha.
So
What do we?
it was
What
released
is
in
this?
November of 2006.
What is this console?
It is a wonderful motion-based gaming console that introduced everyone's grandpa to video games.
Also, not the greatest name for a console, maybe.
It's a revolution.
It's memorable though.
And it brings people together.
The Wii. Like Wii. I think they did focus test it properly.
And people all over France, people were like, yes.
And everyone was like, the moment I had it, suddenly it was just like, dude, this kid Dylan's got it. And they'd be like, oh, we're going to come over and we've also got beer. And I'm like, okay. I see how this works. And I was like, yeah, okay, come on over.
Man, the fucking Wii.
Let's put it this way. There are some pretty good release games.
What was the launch price?
The launch price was $249.99.
So you're saying it was less than half of the PlayStation 3's launch price?
Because this was Nintendo is very good at budget consoles. They are very good at making things accessible.
Why don't we just make it fun instead of overly powerful?
So it comes with a console, which included the Wii remote and the nunchuck, as well as the system itself, which, by the way, is a very good GameCube substitute.
Yeah, all your GameCube games.
And it has been proven already that they have faster loading times for GameCube games.
And let's bring in pack-in games again. Let's have a pack-in game. And Wii Sports might get laughed off sometimes. Killer apps. Killer games.
It is a complete game changer for the industry.
Do you know how many nursing homes got a Wii?
Exactly.
No joke.
Nope, I'm not. Yep. We also had Call of Duty 3. I actually played this one. My buddy Alex got it.
Specific Wii version
what's cool about it is the duck and cover mechanic.
Duck and cover
with the Wii remote, because you would duck and cover with the analog stick, and then you would peek over, and then it would actually have the reticle, and it actually did kind of feel like you were doing the thing. Now I think they overestimated how much people wanted to be active.
I've heard the Resident Evil 4. There's a million ports, but I've heard the best one is on the Wii.
It is clearly the best.
Yeah, is it? Like any shooter that properly implements the functionality of the Wii is the best one by default.
We also have quite a few things. Of course, the most important one is Twilight Princess. That was a game that people had been waiting for 6 years, and now that feels like a crazy thing to say that we waited only 6 years for a Legend of Zelda game. But I would say also another one, Marvel Ultimate Alliance, is very good. Raving Rabbids.
That's a fun game,
was fun.
Got a lot of heat.
It got a lot of heat. I did buy Red Steel day one.
I didn't realize the Rabbids were from Rayman.
Yep.
I didn't realize that Mario and Rayman are in the same universe now.
Red Steel was one of those games.
Crossover.
Yeah.
Red Steel, when they showed that at E3, and they made it look like it was 1-to-1 fucking motion with the game.
That fucked me
I was
up,
like, oh my god, this is like a game changer.
I'm going to be a Jedi.
Yeah, but then to find out that the implementation of it.
Now
they were working out some of their wonky functionality with like the balance stuff, because Banana Blitz. Yeah. Not a great monkey ball game.
Not a great monkey ball.
But Downhill Jam, Tony Hawk, bad. Bad.
And for Legend of Zelda, we should also say that launched on the GameCube as well. This was basically
now, but I mean, but it was a month earlier, and it does count to its favor rather than.
That's like trying to say Breath of the Wild's a Wii U game.
It's technically.
I haven't said that yet, but I was going to.
Yeah.
So another thing I have to say is I've played Excite Truck. That game fucking rocks.
I forgot that existed.
It fucking rules. I played that every morning before I went to school for about 4 or 5 months. I will go to bat for that. And also Trauma Center Second Opinion is a very good video game.
Nice.
It's kind of a half port of the Nintendo DS one where you perform surgery.
You've played most of these games, it sounds like.
I have played most of these games because I was literally desperate.
In all good conscience, couldn't put this anywhere below an A- this
it's
launch.
It's an A for me.
Agreed, yeah.
It's an A for me.
Wii Sports is a pack-in. This is launching a brand new type of game console.
Yeah, it's not high definition,
it's perfectly explained. It was a revolution.
Nobody owned an HD. Nobody owned an HD.
Okay, not in 2006.
Not only did this get every member of the family playing video games together again and selling like fucking crazy, it also had Zelda. It also had Red Steel, and it had
stuff
options.
for core gamers.
But you couldn't find one at launch.
Oh, I did. Oh, baby.
Yeah,
I waited 14 hours.
No,
by a Target.
And $250. I mean, that's fantastic.
This is less than half the price of a PS3. This is an A release.
This is an A for me.
This is
an
A as well.
It's got to be
So
an
it
A.
overrules anything Tom says.
Kind of, yeah.
Tom, what do you want to put it as in your personal?
Why do you even fucking care? Why does anybody care about my opinion right now?
Okay,
Fucking
so
A's.
after the first 10 Neo Geo systems,
I give it 8 Neo Geos out of 4,000.
Very good.
Look, it launched with the Zelda, and I was jealous of all the motherfuckers that had a Wii that I couldn't find. So I would give it.
so you're really just angry.
You just didn't put in the work.
Wii Sports, I could give a shit, but yes, my grandma fucking played it, and she didn't play shit. So I mean, I would be in the B range for this. To be honest with you, I would probably be.
So
a
it
solid
breaks down
B.
to an A minus.
No, 3 A's.
3 A's
Are you
plus
guys
a
straight
B
A's?
though is
We're
would
all
say A,
3
yeah.
straight A's.
it
all straight
technically,
A's?
but
Yeah.
it technically
Make it an A minus. Bring it to an A minus. Can we do that?
There's not going to be anything above an A minus. I'm going to call it now, but yes, we'll go
It's
A
an
minus if it's better.
Honestly,
better for you.
I don't.
We'll
know.
see.
We'll see. I honestly do think this is one of the better launches.
Yeah, I think so. I think
All right, so out of
okay.
that generation, what do we have there?
What do we have? Who is keeping track here?
We have the Wii at A minus. We have the Xbox 360 at a C plus and the PS3 at a D plus.
Okay.
And Tom, you were in charge of the last
I
generation,
would love
the next
the
generation.
next generation.
That's a Star Trek joke for all of you older people.
Heyo.
Okay, let's go to the current generation, or maybe the previous generation, depending when you're listening to this. We're going to start with November 2012, a little console, the brother of the console that we just talked about.
Oh my gosh, the brother you want to forget.
The brother that you keep in a closet. The Wii U, probably Nintendo. This was a...
Oh no, the Wii U. So no.
You ready for this, guys? All right, we have to... Hey, we're going to take the good with the bad, okay? So we have to be ready for this.
Man, how did they do this?
So the Wii U, this is a console that had 2 different SKUs when it launched. We had a basic edition and a premium edition. The premium or the basic edition retailed for $299, and then you got the console, a controller, and 8 gigabytes of memory, and I believe the color was white.
A low amount of memory at this time.
Yes.
No kidding. Jeez.
And then the premium edition was $349, where you got the console, controller, 32 gigabytes of memory, and Nintendo Land was the pack-in game.
It's almost insulting at like the fact that there's this $50 difference to get a game and more memory. Why would they even do it?
That's why the basic edition is so hard to find. That's like the more valuable one to get, because they obviously wanted to push you towards the premium edition.
Because it's the obvious one everyone should get.
Yes, and adjusted for inflation, it was $339 for basic and $396 now for the premium edition. The launch-wise, this launch was all over the fucking map.
Yeah.
It had games that were a year old on other consoles, on the like the 360. It launched with Assassin's Creed 3.
But it had the pack-in Nintendo Land.
Yes,
I never even played this one.
Are you fucking serious?
I have it, and I never really played this one.
It's fun.
it's actually not bad.
And it actually proves that this could have actually been something if people had been paying attention to
It's like a tech demo for
I think it
your
was
controller almost.
the biggest problem was improper marketing. I don't think people were really explained.
Yes.
No.
Most people thought this
That was one of the
like
problems.
a Wii
Expansion.
Point 2
Yeah.
instead of like if they just called it anything else.
You're right.
The USS like the US or something.
You're quite. No, they shouldn't have labeled it the Wii.
USS Mario.
They should have if they had said
Russian Mario.
Listen, all they had to do was say this is the Super Wii.
Yep.
Super Wii. The Super Wii Entertainment System.
Yep.
Yeah. Sweat.
It's the easiest thing you could have ever done
Right.
because people would have been like, "Oh, like you mean like the thing I already knew?"
Switch
That's
Junior.
really good. That's really good. The Super Nintendo Wii. SNW.
Yeah, and I can't believe I'm the biggest genius for thinking about that.
You are.
Because it's playing all your Wii games. It still has the
Yes.
Wiimote. It still has all the same functionality, but it also has the pad, the game pad, which is game changing
changer.
in a huge way.
You can
but
play DS games on your TV.
improperly explained though.
Yes, I played Skyward
Super bad.
Sword probably more than I played any other game.
As a left-handed person,
On
that makes me
the Wii
laugh
U.
that you had to do that.
I know, but that's a Wii game that I played in the Wii U.
One of the best Legend of Zelda soundtracks, worst Legend of Zelda game.
Yeah. Just a smattering of the games here. You got your Call of Duty Black Ops 2, which a very revered Call of Duty, but this is like I think maybe
The Wii U port of any of these games are the weird versions.
Zombie U is very good.
Batman Arkham City Armored Edition.
I mean, we got New Super Mario Brothers U. I was not a fan of that.
Oh, I love
Some
that
people
game.
like that, though.
I loved that game.
I
That
hate
was super
those.
interesting.
I think they're the laziest cash-ins that I've ever seen in my
I always
entire
felt like they just had like a tile editor.
I find them just to be like, oh, you're kind of making this for older players who are just like, remember this, Grandpa?
I think it works on the nostalgia levels, but it's mostly introducing new people to Mario is how I see those.
Yeah.
Okay, I kind
Like
of
the 4-player at the same time. That was
cool.
I mean, it was just kind of to play
was
Mario
alright.
that way. I thought was really
Zombie U was by Ubisoft. That was actually it had some
It's a good
its
game.
moments.
it was good.
Assassin's Creed 3.
Yeah, baby.
Yes. Yep.
I actually played that version. It's actually like with the map on there.
It is cool, but like a lot of these things are just like redone versions of
know.
previous games.
Oh, totally.
I'm actually going to go to bat for the Skylanders game because having the NFC chip built into
I don't see
your
Skyline.
pad-
Okay, Skylanders.
Skylanders
okay.
Giants. I think for a lot of people, especially when that was really big, if someone did own a Wii U, that would have been huge for someone who really wanted to collect those types of toys. So I have to kind of go to bat for that.
Really, what they're trying to sell.
Darksiders 2 is good too.
What they're selling as the game for this console is New Super Mario Brothers U, which I don't think is a strong enough title to carry a console release.
Wasn't Mass Effect
No.
3 also?
It was on there, but not as a console release.
Really? Okay.
It might have been actually. I'm not positive, but
It was
you're
November
right.
of 2012. The game itself released in March of 2012.
I'm seeing a lot of shovelware or
okay.
sequels that I'm not interested in this list.
I don't know if it was like
Yes, it might have been, dude. Yeah, I'm not like I
but
said.
at the same time you couldn't play 1 or 2 on it, so who gives a fuck?
Yeah,
It wouldn't have been my first choice.
No.
I don't think anybody else's either.
like I said, it seemed like third parties were just like, we don't really want to put any new development into this. Let's just fucking repackage our old games that already
Wait,
exist.
what's that one game we got? That Batman game? Can we just put the map on the screen and resell it?
Yeah,
pretty much.
Mass Effect, can we just put the map on the screen and resell it?
Yep.
Can we just put the menu in there? They can touch it.
File save as fucking Wii U. Yeah,
You like JPEGs? We got some.
And then there are killer apps that do come later with like Captain Toad, Tropical Freeze,
Mario Kart.
fantastic release.
Captain Toad rules. Tropical Freeze is fantastic.
there's a lot of good
Mario
games.
Maker was a game changer.
Game changer.
When
Oh,
it
that's
came
huge.
out.
But it was 2015 by that point.
Yes.
Mario Kart 8. Let's not forget Mario Kart 8 started
And
on this.
Right.
Smash
Yep.
And
Brothers.
that's literally what made
Mario
me buy
Party.
it.
Mario.
Was it 8? No, what was the?
I don't know which
one?
Mario Party was on there, but
It was the one where you had. 'Cause
I don't like
64.
I don't like that one because you have to all be in the same car together and you have to like
Oh.
ride down the road.
overall though, I'm not too impressed.
I mean, I love the
There's a
port of
Shin
Wind
Megami
Waker.
Tensei on this. Let's not forget.
Yeah.
it was a Persona crossover.
But
now that's out on the Switch.
Not a
But
launch.
we're
though.
yeah, let's talk about.
I know.
Get back to launch.
I know.
Yeah, this is not.
This is not good. This is not good at all.
And
I
it
think
was a
that's the
launch
problem.
that was poorly explained,
Yep.
poorly marketed,
Yep.
and in my opinion, the launch and the explanation were so bad that it doomed the system that could have done very well.
D plus.
Super Nintendo Wii, B plus, the Nintendo Wii U. What do you want to go, like D?
I'm going D plus.
I'll say D.
Yeah,
I think
I'd be a D.
because I think literally Nintendo Land saves it for me as a pack-in, and I think that if anyone gave that an actual chance, they might actually agree that this system had a ton of potential. So I have to go D plus just because of Nintendo Land.
D plus.
Okay,
D plus. All right.
It's still better than the Atari Jaguar.
Oh God.
so that's good.
It is. Next, we're going to go to PlayStation 4, releasing in November of 2013 at. So yeah, the console was $399, $445 in today's money. Games $60, $67 in today's money. This had a good smattering of games.
As far as Angry Birds Star Wars go, this is the best launch for that game.
Obviously, it launched with the new Assassin's
that's
Creed.
if it was on a phone, it sold better.
Killer app.
So Assassin's Creed Black Flag, Battlefield 4, you had Call of Duty Ghosts.
Was this the first time Assassin's Creed 4 was released? Yeah?
No. It was simultaneous with PS3 because I have the PS3 one.
If it was simultaneous, though, that is a really solid launch title.
Yeah.
It's fine. And honestly, there was improved graphics. It wasn't super noticeable, though. It's kind of just like, okay.
It's probably the game that
beefed it.
played the most.
I mean, they have better
Trine
load
2 is
times.
good game.
Trine 2 is fabulous.
What's a Trine?
Trine is a side scroller where it's meant to be like a cooperative game. One person's a thief, one person's a wizard, and one person's a knight.
Okay,
and you kind of have to kind of cooperate with each other to solve environmental puzzles in a side scrolling fashion.
Sometimes there's always going to be like.
Did I describe that?
Yeah.
That was perfect.
I got it. Yeah,
Okay.
good job.
And there's always going to be launch games that are hyped more than they need to be, and they come off as a real wet fart when you look back on them.
Knack.
Fucking Knack, dude.
Dude, Knack's a good game, though.
It can be a fine game, but as far as what they were talking it up to be, that it was not.
Yeah.
But it was
See
still
Video
wonderful.
Game Donkey if you want to know more about Knack.
I mean, Knack is a punchline. Even if it was an okay game,
I
it's still
actually
a punchline.
I think it's highly underrated. I played it when it became free on PlayStation 4 because I subscribed for a long time. I was deeply charmed by that game. I just think the character looks fucking dumb.
Yep.
not great design.
Resogun was one of those voxel shooters.
Yeah.
That was like it was a downloadable game, but it actually at launch was one of the killer apps that everyone was like, man, you got to play fucking Resogun.
We cannot skip over Warframe, which is still a half phenomenon. This is one of those games that people love, and I played it for a little bit. It's a good video game.
It's one of those games that just is a blind spot for
It's a
me,
very
just
good
off my
video game.
radar, but it's huge.
I don't have the time for it. Even like I could put in 1,000 hours, and I still wouldn't have the time for it. It's kind of one of those. Like Destiny or whatever. If you want to grind for something, you can. But
Injustice: Gods Among Us Ultimate Edition seems like one that might stand out a little more.
Not a lot of exclusives, not a lot of first parties.
Nothing is overwhelming to me.
Now hold on,
here.
Killzone Shadowfall is a very good video game.
That was the big one, right? The big Sony exclusive for launch, Killzone.
And it also actually utilized the touchpad, which was cool. You could send out like
they all
a
did.
criminally underused feature of the PS4
Should've been
controller.
better.
I
Unless
love
you
it when a
want,
game
scratching it?
uses it
it's pretty
properly.
sweet. Yep.
Because I don't think most people.
I think it worked.
I want
think it
lottery
works
ticket
great,
simulator.
but I don't think a lot of people realize the functionality of that.
Nope.
Yeah.
Killzone Shadowfall ruled. Lego Marvel Superheroes is maybe one of the maybe because I'm a Marvel kid, but I will say that the references in there and the gameplay, everything looks very good on it. So I got to give it kind of props.
Okay.
Otherwise, all the NBAs and Maddens, Need for Speed Rivals, never touched it. Like I say, Skylanders.
That was good. Need for Speed Rivals is good.
Really?
I played it on Xbox. Yeah, it was alright.
What do you do in that one?
You find your rivals. It was supposed to be like online, you know.
Oh,
You find your rivals.
You find your rivals and you race them.
Dude,
and
sick.
yeah,
I hear in
Need for
Call.
Speed. So, yeah.
Well, I hear in Call of Duty Ghosts you get to pet a dog. So
I heard that game's garbage poop.
yeah. Okay.
I'm not overly impressed by this launch lineup, though.
I'm not either.
For what I consider one of my favorite consoles of all time, I'm
right there with you.
I am not charmed by any of these.
Yeah, you get Killzone. I mean, Infamous 2 came out in February the following year.
But it only came out for. Infamous 2 came out only for PlayStation 3.
I'd want to throw this into the C+.
The Infamous, the one that came out for
Second Son.
Second Son.
Infamous
Yeah,
Second
sorry.
Son.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's what I meant.
It has second in it.
Yes,
I get it.
like 2 Son. Grade? What did you say?
I'd want to throw into the C+ category. Great consoles with not great launch titles.
I think for the most part, though, that there are highlights here, but this is the era where we entered. Everything is now a transition or a transitionary type of thing, and like the fact that a lot of these games were released on previous ones too only proves that the market is. Mm-hmm. They're kind of reticent to be like, oh, we'll make everyone buy new things. This is also when the economy still wasn't that great.
It's kind of like what they're doing now with the Xbox cases. They just say Xbox, and they can be for either.
That's why I don't have to buy an Xbox
Series X or the One.
I don't have to buy one for a year if I don't want to.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm gonna give this. You know what, Brad? I'm gonna actually say C. They did release a few things months later that did impress me. But for the most part, right now, I'm just not like this would not have enticed me.
There was nothing on here that I wanted to play that I couldn't play on Xbox, which is the game. That was the console I went for.
Dark Souls 2 came out in 2014.
Eventually,
on the PlayStation 3 first, and I was just like, "That's the only game I need to play."
Eventually, this got Bloodborne, Spider-Man, Persona 5. Became a powerhouse system later on.
Absolutely.
Yeah. They had a bit of a build ahead of them, though. So,
all right.
But if you remember the year after this, everyone's game of the year was Shadows of Mordor, and I got to tell you,
that speaks to the weakness.
That was a horrible year.
That was a bad year for games.
That was the year
think,
of
Maddie?
Destiny.
Say C.
Actually did great that year.
See, just based on the launch titles, there's again, like I agree with. There's
I'll be
really
the
overwhelming.
I'll be the sourpuss that goes C-.
I agree with you.
We'll average out with C.
Okay, and then we have our final one. No, I'm sorry. We have two because I always forget that we're still a part of the last generation. We have the Xbox One, released on November of 2013. Originally, it was $499 with a Kinect camera. And
not a
throw
fan?
open your mouth there a little bit.
I'll let you borrow mine.
Yeah. Need some water, I guess.
Oh my God, I forgot this.
558 with the console controller and the Kinect 2.0, and the games ran for 60/67. Now we're entering the era where everything's kind of, like it makes sense.
No, wait a second. Is this camera going to be on all the time and you can't share games between people?
Yeah.
Well, buy our $20 attachment, which is the piece of plastic that goes over the camera.
They sell a piece of plastic that just goes over the camera?
Like Mad Cats, they would come out with these. It was just like a fucking thing that you would just like.
Oh my God.
Hang on to fucking. It was ridiculous.
I don't think there could be a game that would raise this up out of an F to me then. Man, did they botch this.
I like the Kinect 2.0.
Okay.
Functionality.
Take the Kinect out of it.
No, it deserves to be in it because it is the launch. They didn't like phase.
No,
this
it gets
out.
to be in it. Let's talk about the games.
We have to talk about it. Yes. So a lot of it is the same.
Yeah, a lot of crossover, a lot of third-party games.
Peggle 2, great.
Dude.
Rise, Son of Rome, I think it's fine. I actually recently played that, which is
it was
really weird.
That was a graphical like. Fucking
it's a
powerhouse.
It still looks great. It does.
Dead
this
Rising
is what they
3?
wanted to do their Uncharted.
I like Dead Rising 3. I thought Xbox One had definitely more first-party exclusives. Forza 5, I played the shit out of.
I see a lot of overlap.
And then, a lot of...
Forza Motorsport 5 is very good.
Black Flag, Call of Duty Ghosts.
The fact that they release a good racing game before PlayStation 4 can release another Gran Turismo, that's important.
Watch Dogs?
Watch Dogs, is that a release?
It says so here.
Watch Dogs?
Was that 2013? That was 2014.
I think that's 2014. That might be
that's okay.
Okay.
Let's not consider that.
I remember having a PlayStation 4 at the time, so this could, like, by release, I bought it day of, so it had to have been 2014.
Yeah.
That was a big disappointment.
Killer Instinct, they kind of resurrected that.
Yeah.
That was okay.
Loco Cycle was kind of fun.
That was one, I never played it, but I know it was kind of polarizing. I think a lot of people didn't.
It was hard.
Okay. Did it have like FMV or something?
It had, we're not F.
There was something about it that was just
cartoonish kind of thing.
Okay.
That's pretty cool.
We've got Skylander Swap Force, my favorite Pornhub search term.
Jesus Christ. I totally believe you. Absolutely. Again, this is very similar
but
to...
it's a lot less.
But
the way they fucked this up so bad, because we know the details.
Yeah. They killed their system before they launched by describing like that it'll be always on, you can't share games.
My Xbox One still turns on its own, and I don't know why.
The camera needs to be on.
Really?
That's not a fucking joke.
Is it like the... Oh, yeah.
You need a camera?
I'll turn on, I'll hear... I'll be asleep. And I'll hear...
It's possessed, man.
Uh-huh.
It's possessed, I'm telling you.
I remember
Bill Gates is coming out.
being diehard Xbox 360. I didn't want to play the PlayStation 3 at all. Mm-hmm. And then just seeing how the PS4 and the Xbox One were shaking out at E3s and stuff, I remember just like, wow, I want nothing to do with you, Xbox One. They botched it so bad this launch.
It was...
And they don't have a game that I'm like, I have to play this.
It had more exclusives than PS4.
Doesn't matter if they don't have games that I'm like dying to play.
Yep.
Yeah, and that was my feeling towards PS4 because I actually like Dead Rising, so I was like, well, this is what I'm gonna.
This is the worst Dead Rising, though.
Yeah, it wasn't good. I mean, I don't want to say that. No, it was good, but I did enjoy two.
I like 2.
You know, and I tried playing 4, and that one just I fell off of that one. But
well, yeah, I think it's just a.
I played a shitload of Peggle 2, but you know what I really played? When I got yes,
that's Peggle, right?
Do you know what game I really played when I got the day I got the Xbox One?
Knack, backwards compatible.
Legend of Zelda: Link Between Worlds came out the same day.
Hey, better choice.
Better choice.
And Super Mario 3D Land or World. Yeah.
So I'm actually going to give this a D.
Yep.
It's what it deserves, unfortunately.
Damn. I like
having a great product marketed poorly is worse than anything. It's like you have something that it could be as easy as like a layup or like an easy free throw, but you make it so much more difficult.
You could plug your cable into it and then have a snapped little picture-in-picture while you're playing.
But you won't ever find your way to that app because it's
and
so
you can use
poorly.
voice commands.
The fact that I didn't even know that means they did a bad job.
Yeah.
It's the proto Alexa.
They tried to use like the Windows.
What if I'm naked in my house? Is the camera always on?
Yes, it is.
Okay,
we have the pictures to prove it.
Yeah.
One thing I do miss though is I loved being able to say when I was watching a movie, say like Xbox pause, Xbox play, having the voice commands.
Sure.
I haven't gotten that lazy yet, and I can still click one button. But
dude, once you get it, once you are into that, it's hard to go back and press buttons. But
I'd rather not have them listening to me all the time. Sometimes Dylan's over talking about the president, and I can't have things always listening to that.
I'm not the only one.
So, anyways, I would probably. So, Microsoft horribly fucking botched this. They basically took a clear lead that they had with the 360 and just gave it right back to Sony.
They had all the impetus in the world to be the most popular system, and this is when they started botching it with names of their consoles.
Also, just release a good Halo game.
Also, don't call it the Xbox One when there was already an Xbox One before that, and then also why call it the Series X? Or just call it the Xbox. I don't know anything else.
No, it wasn't Series. It was Xbox One S or Xbox One X.
And then there's the Xbox.
Well, the S was the Slim.
Super S.
What do you mean, the middle consoles?
With the re-releases of the Xbox.
Yes, Xbox One X.
Xbox
and then there's the
X.
Xbox One S.
Yeah, this is
the white one.
This is devastatingly awful.
Devastatingly awful.
It doesn't
Not
deserve
that
it.
bad.
It's
D.
No, it is. It's D.
D.
Just kidding. No, I'll go with the group.
It wouldn't matter.
It's just the launch, remember. It's not the system itself. It's the launch.
There's no other systems worth mentioning.
I own an Xbox One. Let's be clear. I bought one a year ago. So next one is one I have to.
All right.
But this is kind of an in-betweener.
This could straddle the current gen. And this is the last console.
But this is my boy.
It came out 2017. That's not this generation, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think
it's hard to
generation, but it's like late last generation. I think Nintendo.
Jeffrey Wittenhagen would disagree with you.
We are talking about the Nintendo Switch, and that released in March of 2017. During release, it was $299. Now it's $317. That's how much inflation has occurred.
I tell you,
our economy sucks.
It's been a rough couple of years.
It's actually only worth $250.
Games are $60/$64. Yeah, you kind of get the idea. It's the most recent, up until a day from now. But as far as releases go, we have Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild, 1-2 Switch, a game that I don't hate.
Game of the year.
Shovel Knight, a fantastic video game. Skylanders Imaginators, that's the death of the toys to life. It's fine though. Super Bomberman R.
Imaginators, mount up.
Just Dance 2017, I actually played that. Weird. Fast RMX, a very good kind of F-Zero clone.
Is it okay? That's what I kind of figured it was, but
Human Resource Machine, don't know it. I am Setsuna, which is made by the people who are trying to really reproduce like Chrono Trigger. They didn't quite achieve it.
Yep. That's a Square game, right?
Yeah.
They're trying to like pump out RPGs every year, or every few months.
Little Inferno, very good.
I heard a lot of good things about that.
That's great. Snipperclips is a fantastic video game.
Haven't played it. Always wanted to. Never had friends.
It's a lot of fun.
We'll have to
It's
do
a lot
it
of fun.
sometime,
Is it?
it can be so much fun, like you're with a partner and you're just like, are you fucking kidding me? You can figure this out, you dumb piece of shit.
Fucking bitch.
We got to get the basketball in the hoop. And then we have World of Goo, which World of Goo has existed for 13 years at this point.
That's what we called my dorm room.
Oh, yikes.
Oh boy. But I'm going to be honest with you, like the Nintendo Switch, that is a very good launch.
Well, Nintendo is so smart at like when they had was it E3, they're like, we're only talking about one game for 25 hours, and it's Breath of the Wild, and they won. They won everything because it's that good.
Yeah.
And I've got to be honest with you, like the fact that they were straightforward enough to bring Shovel Knight right away, like you got people like, fucking Shovel Knight, and I know that Mario Kart 8 Deluxe was released a month later, but god damn, I got that system 3 months later than I should have. So
this is a lot of solid games.
Yeah, with one
super solid game.
Yeah,
Well,
one outlier.
I think the real argument is how fucking amazing is Breath of the Wild, and how many points does it bring up the rest? Because the other ones are all pretty great. Snipperclips is great. Like all these are very fun.
I would say
unique
good to
games.
great. Let's say 1-2 Switch is not. Great's a little.
No, I think
good.
for showing off what it can do, I will put this in the realm of
That's like the
Nintendo
tech
Land.
demo game of the launch for sure.
And
I don't think that's bad though.
Shovel Knight's fucking great. No one would argue against Shovel Knight, but it's not.
It was on Wii U and 3DS.
Yeah,
Right.
Ultimately, Breath of the Wild is one of the greatest video games ever made.
Okay.
Absolutely.
It was a launch title for one of the greatest consoles ever made.
When you first booted that up and you played it in handheld mode, were you just kind of like, wait, huh?
I think you're much more of a handhold switcher than most people.
But I wanted to try it in handheld first because that was literally what this was
same
based
here.
around.
I was blown away.
I was just kind of like, wait.
Wait, I can take this with me. This
And
is
then
a
I
full
saw
fucking Zelda
the
game.
picture,
I can
and then I
play
saw
it?
Link
What?
run. I saw Link run around, and the animations looked good, and I was like,
Yeah.
okay. And then it was like bling, 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 and then you see the vista, and you're just like, yeah, you know what? I'm gonna give this an A-. That's how I feel. I think that if you weren't buying Legend of Zelda, you probably didn't know what you were buying to begin with.
Yeah.
And I think like the same way that Mario 64 was the 64 machine, like the game, like it was the seller.
I'm going B plus. B plus.
Ooh, I'm
Just because the Wii packed in with sports was such a new thing. Plus, it had a Zelda title.
It honestly should have, if it had a pack-in of some sort. If 1-2 Switch was a pack-in, that actually would have tipped it over. It should have been. It's not worth it on its own. And they still try to sell it for like $50.
So was there no pack-in for the Switch then?
No.
Oh.
I mean, Zelda, one of my favorite games of all time.
I just wish it was a Zelda game. I'm so controversial here.
God damn it, Dylan.
It's a beautiful game. I love it.
All right, so you're B plus, A-. Matt,
I'll say B plus. Because without that pack in the game, I think that kind of knocks it down a bit.
If 1-2 Switch had put it over the edge, I actually would have made it an A. I love this system. I can't help it.
Ooh, man,
it's a game changing.
I say the system itself is a game changer.
Absolutely,
it cannot be understated.
I don't think it's as big of a game changer as the Wii was when it released, though.
No, but I think for the most part, people actually were just like, oh shit, like what is this all about? Like, oh, and I can buy one system and it's one controller, but it's also 2 controllers.
But I mean, I would say it was maybe a game changer when it came out, but it was a fad. Now they're just living in people's closets.
They tried real hard. They did.
The last Wii game came out like yesterday.
Yeah.
Just Dance.
Yeah.
Did it really?
Not. I mean, it's.
They're probably still making
long
them.
ago.
They still did.
I don't know. As far as the launch goes, though.
I will go B plus. For this.
Okay. So it breaks down to B plus.
Do you know what's a fascinating thing? Because I'm showing my stuff different here than you, Tom.
Yeah. 4
of the top 5 are Nintendo consoles.
Yeah. It turns out they're actually quite good at doing it.
Actually,
which is why they survive.
The top 6 are Nintendo consoles.
Oh my goodness.
There's only one that's not a Nintendo console in the top 7, and that's the Dreamcast.
Wow, that's kind of
Dreamcast
bizarre.
should be 1. Number one.
The only Nintendo console below that is the Wii U at D+.
All right, let's recap Gen 8, boys. What do we got here?
Switch, PS4, Xbox One. That's amazing. When you lay it
And
like
Wii
that,
U.
how good the Nintendo.
Wii U.
Oh,
Yeah, the Wii U's gonna be there too.
oh yeah, I forgot the Wii U's a thing.
You guys forgot the
Round
Dylan's
up.
Imagination Station. It's a little cardboard box I made when I couldn't afford anything.
Nintendo releases cardboard, and it sells better than the Xbox.
Labo didn't work out the way
Almost.
they wanted.
Yeah.
Labo would have done killer in quarantine, though.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
If they had just waited till the global pandemic. Darn.
Yeah. So the winners of each gen, Brad, like you just kind of pointed out, we got a lot of Nintendo representation here.
Oh my God.
Gen 3 with the NES, Gen 4 SNES, Gen 5 N64, Gen 6 with the Dreamcast. Wow. Yay! Gen 7 Wii and Gen 8 the Switch.
Yeah, the Dreamcast narrowly beat out the GameCube.
Right.
Narrowly.
Yes, the GameCube was pretty.
If the GameCube had a few more games.
And we're not really particularly like Nintendo biased podcast, I would say.
I mean, I'm the only Nintendo bias one here.
And
That's
I
would
don't
say that's true.
established.
You have a bias, but I also don't think it's unfounded. You've played every game and you've come to a conclusion based on your experience.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a bias. It's just you knowing what you like.
Yeah, that's true.
It looks like the worst.
Nintendo hasn't paid you. Once that happens, you're fucked.
So those were the tops. I think
Nintendo, please sponsor me.
What's the timestamp of that one? Shit.
And somehow the Xbox One is below the Nintendo Wii U.
I liked the Wii U.
I love it.
It's the first time I played Earthbound, and that's one of my favorite games of all time.
Yeah.
First time I played Super Metroid.
So let's announce the not winning console of each generation, the worst.
The worst of the worst.
For Gen 3 Sega Master System, sorry buddy, I can't believe you got beat by the Atari 7800.
That is kind of crazy.
What the fuck?
If the games
It's
are
the
better,
games,
the
yeah.
games
Well,
are better.
they weren't that
Better
many,
launch
too.
games.
and more.
Yep.
Launch games too.
Gen 4, I'm gonna cut a bitch. Neogeo is the worst launch.
They actually called it a game system? I thought it was just a waste of money.
It was $1 million. No one played it.
Brad is gonna die after this podcast. Thank you for.
Nobody played it.
It's now gonna be the raw dog.
He's gonna raw dog you.
So Neo Geo's brings up the bottom of the list under the TurboGrafx and the Genesis. Gen 5, I'm sorry Atari Jaguar, but
No one's surprised.
where,
no one's worried.
where did you learn how to fucking launch, you piece of shit?
Way to pounce, bitch.
You are underneath the 3DO, the Saturn, PlayStation, and N64.
3DO is a funny game system.
Now this
It's funny. I like it.
Gen
I like a
6,
humorous thing.
Gen 6, the worst console launch is our boy the PS2.
Weird.
Yeah, bringing up the bottom.
Launches. Now, everyone has to remember, this is all just launches.
Launch.
Just the launch. Yep.
Because PlayStation 2 rockets past most of them.
Oh yeah.
You've been beat up by the Xbox, the GameCube, and the lovable Dreamcast. Same Gen 7, PS3. You suck.
They deserved it. They really did.
You got beat by the Xbox 360 and Wii, and Gen 8, poor little Wii U.
Nintendo's little bastard child.
We all right.
Even the Xbox One beat you.
No.
Congrats.
The Xbox One was below the Wii U.
Was it?
Yeah, Xbox One was a D. Wii U was a D+.
Oh, shit. Well, I'm glad we have judges. Okay, they're just saying yes. Okay.
The Wii U is technically better than the Xbox One.
Oh, shut up.
It could launch with no games be better than that.
Yeah, that's true. All right, so Xbox One. Bye. You suck. God, you suck even more than the Wii U. That's crazy.
And as far as what launches this week, I'm going to put the PS5 over the Xbox Series X without having played the games. The fact that
Just
we
the
have
name.
Demon Souls and Miles Morales Spider-Man over...
You have a game you can play over just on the PS.
Plus, you got Astrobot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would love to play Astrobot.
That's getting good
with you
reviews.
guys. Yeah, I've heard a good thing.
Well, this was a fun ranking, guys. I think we did our job, and I think we did it well. God damn it.
So well.
Maddie, you're a trooper, man.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
You fucking
It's fun.
nailed it, dude.
Did you have a good time?
I absolutely, yeah.
Are you happy with the results?
I'm very happy with the results.
All right. Was there one that
the
you
Neo
wish you
Geo
could?
is way down there. I think it's good.
I call it a no G-ho.
Sorry, that price.
Guys, is
No
there
one
any?
can buy that thing.
All right, please, Dogcast listeners, if you're listening this far, if you like the Neogeo, please, I need moral support. Let me know. I know there are more than me.
No, poo-poo.
More
He's
of
been
me
on
out
every
there.
message board. He can't find anyone.
Neogeo.com. There's at least 4 others of me. I
There
swear
are
to
literally tens of us.
yes, but I know there's more. Come on, now's the time to unite.
No, it's not.
We've been here at the Dogcast, and we wish you a very happy
A Merry Christmas.
Merry Thanksgiving.
Merry Thanksgiving.
Well, when this second part comes out,
It'll be late November.
You mean the part we're listening to right now?
yeah.
Yes.
So
this
it
will
might be a Merry Christmas.
Yeah. Happy holidays.
Yeah.
Cover everything.
No, this is coming out on Thanksgiving Day.
Shalom.
Oh, this is a Thanksgiving Day episode.
Yep.
Oh,
Yep. It's Turkey Day.
Happy Turkey
never
Day.
mind.
Let us know if you agree with our rankings. If you have your own rankings, we'd love to know. And if you're enjoying your new next gen boxes, let us know because we're going to be enjoying ours.
Tom says he wants an extra episode for Thanksgiving. Really, he's just going to be playing his new game systems. Is what he's going to be doing.
Oh, that's all I'm going to do.
That is your family.
Right now, it is. Yeah. I wish the Kinect was still alive. Maybe we could have like a Zoom app or something. You know, I could spend Thanksgiving online with my family. I don't know what I'm talking about anymore. But anyways, this has been Hair of the Dogcast. Thank you. Where can they get a hold of us? Brad.
We are on Twitter at Hot Dogcast. We are on Instagram, Hair of the Dogcast, Facebook, Hair of the Dogcast. If you reach out on any of those, we will get back to you very soon. You can shoot us an email at hairofthedogcast@gmail.com. Check us out on TeePublic if you want to get yourself a nice t-shirt, sticker, coffee mug. We're available. And I've got some of those stickers and a deliciously wonderful t-shirt as well. So check that
nice.
out.
There also might be more coming with that. Based on my thumbnails,
we are going to be offering Raw Dogs, Gift Horse, Troob shirts. If you want to get any of these things, they will be available soon. Excellent. How could they support us elsewise?
I would say Patreon is your best option for that.
I would say so too.
We have a wide range of tiers that we can provide for you. God, I've already drank too much. But I will say, like, no matter what you can give, if you can give it, we are so appreciative. Don't overstrain yourself. Take care of yourself first. We do this for fun first and foremost, but we appreciate anything you can give.
Very well said. And Maddie, thank you again
Thanks again for having me.
Yeah.
It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, man. Anytime you want to come on. Like I said, thanks for being a trooper. This was a
two-parter.
It was great to have you, man. It was nice to meet you.
You made it on 1/12 of the episodes this year.
Yeah, exactly. So for all of us here at Hair of the Dogcast, please have a great holiday if you're in the U.S. If not, just have a great day and be kind to one another. And let's go play some Neo Geo.
Also, don't if you don't want to. It's
Fuck off.
You can play Neo Geo, just don't buy a Neo Geo.
You might find some in some old antique stores or museums where they belong.
You belong in a museum. Okay.
Coming from you?
Yeah. Oh, Jesus. From everybody
You're
here.
Sean Connery. I'm Harrison Ford.
I'm dead, you bastard. All right. We'll see you next
just like Metal Slug, and they've got it.
Yeah, there's not bad games.
Good job. All right. We'll see you next time.
Bye.
We love you.
See ya.
Bye.